Today I want to talk about my experiences with a vegan diet. I went vegan nearly 6 years ago. My realizations, what I've learned, what I've experienced, and I've also interviewed a lot of other vegans and raw vegans who, some of them have been thriving for decades, some like 40, 50 years on the channel. I've interviewed them and they've had similar realizations and experiences. So it's great to know that it's not just me. It can also work for you if you decide to go vegan, or maybe you're already vegan. Here is what you can sort of expect from a vegan lifestyle and diet, mainly diet side of things I'm going to touch on. But yeah, I originally went vegan 6 years ago after watching Game Changers, and I did it for the purpose of improving my football or my soccer performance. And yeah, I just instantly noticed improvements in my recovery, in my energy, after watching Game Changers, which I would recommend anyone who is interested in health and performance and just optimizing your life. I would recommend anyone watches that documentary. It was really profound in my life. And yeah, I made the switch overnight, noticed all the benefits they talked about in the documentary, noticed improved recovery, improved energy, as I touched on, more mental clarity. But also I realized that not all vegan diets are the same. Now, the reason why the vegan diet gets a bad reputation in a lot of, circles online is because there's, let's say, a good way of doing it and a slightly less beneficial way. And if you decide to eat processed foods, it can be useful during the transition to eat mock meats. Like I did it at the start of my journey. I had like bean burgers, I had certain corn products spelt with a Q and a U. It's like a brand here we have in the UK and probably the US that's like mock meats. And yeah, it was useful when I was transitioning. It allowed me to satiate that desire for meat initially, until after a couple months I lost that craving for meat. Like when I smelt meat, when I saw meat, I just became a bit repulsed by it and just had no desire to eat that anymore. So it's useful during the transition, but at the same time, you're not going to experience all the benefits if you consume a lot of processed food and junk food. Even though it's vegan, it's still ethical, sort of, but you're not going to feel your best. So if you eat whole foods, and if you eat a lot of raw foods, a lot of raw living foods with their enzymes still intact, full of water, look at this dog, full of water, and yeah, full of life, full of nutrition, you're going to feel your absolute best. If you eat a lot of cooked food, a lot of junk food, you're going to feel more sluggish. It's just how the body's designed. We're frugivores, as I've talked about in many other videos. We're designed to mainly eat fruit and raw leafy greens. At the same time, we don't live in an optimal world anymore, which is why I don't think it's sustainable for a lot of us, especially not if we live in the Western world. If we live in the UK or Europe, it's tricky. It's definitely tricky in the colder climates. So eating a high raw lifestyle, starting your day off with fruit and veg, I've learned can be, well, starting your day off with fruit mainly, can be really hydrating, lights up your brain, you get the sugar, you get the dopamine hit, and you get long-lasting energy for the day. Even though people say it's simple sugars and it digests really quickly, yes, that's great. We want it to digest quickly. We can still store that sugar for a while. We can store glycogen for a while. Some people say 24 hours. So just because it's digested quickly, it doesn't mean you're not able to use it. It's just a nice light feeling, which is how we want to feel in life. We don't want to feel, like bogged down by stodgy food. So I've realized that raw foods are what makes or breaks the diet. If you're eating a lot of cooked foods and processed foods, it's not going to have the same effect. And that's why two people can go vegan. One can still be, 100 pounds overweight and lethargic, and another can be thriving. That's a differentiating factor in my mind. And also I noticed just general energy, less mental clarity, or less brain fog, I should say, more mental clarity, which is ironic. That making that point, mumbling over my words, but yeah, more an enhanced ability to think clearer. I've always been reasonably intelligent and articulate without tooting my own trumpet, but at the same time, I noticed just an improved ability to learn, and yeah, just information goes in a bit more. I think my memory's improved. I'd say, especially when I eat predominantly raw foods, my recollection of words and ability to articulate myself has improved. That's definitely something I've noticed. Because when you're not eating, stodgy foods like meat and dairy and these foods which digest so slowly, they take so much energy. If you eat a big steak, you feel like sleeping. That's because, all the energy that has to go to digestion. And we're not lions. We don't eat a meal and then, lay down and sleep for the rest of the day. That's not how we function. We're meant to be like apes, like frugivores, hanging from trees, swinging from trees, and just having a vibrant, energetic life. We're not meant to be like huge, muscly creatures, but at the same time, just fit and healthy and have energy for the day. Also realised protein, a lot of myths about protein. I learned that protein is really overhyped. I did buy into it. I used to get like hemp protein powders, pea protein powders. And yes, if you want to be an elite bodybuilder, I would say it's probably useful if you really want to get to the upper echelons of like bodybuilding, yes. But for 99.9% of people who want to be fit, healthy, toned, lean, you can still achieve an amazing physique without fixating on protein. Now, a lot of it is just pushed by these industries that are just peddling like supplements, protein powders. Huge business, huge earner. Because a lot of the times they can get rid of waste products and package it as this useful protein powder, especially like whey protein isolate. It's just a waste product. They just had a load of it left over and they thought, yeah, we can make a whole industry out of it. But if you're suffering from a lot of breakouts and acne, which I used to have quite bad acne on my back, not horrendous, but quite bad. I was a bit insecure about taking my top off. Dairy, as soon as I eliminated that, I realised it was the cause of a lot of allergies, a lot of sinus issues, just pimples and things, especially pasteurised dairy. Because, yeah, it's just really fattening, it takes ages to digest. We're not cows. We're not cows. So, yeah, we don't need to live like a cow. Cows have multiple stomachs. They're designed completely differently. Cow's milk is designed to fatten up a baby calf as soon as possible. Whereas our breast milk, it's only 5 to 7% protein. And yeah, it's designed to raise us slowly. The quicker you bring up a child, the more rapidly they age and develop. It's not actually a good thing for humans. It's we're seeing a lot of hormonal issues with kids nowadays. Like a lot of kids are growing up way too fast. Girls are having periods earlier than ever. And that's a lot of the time to do with estrogenic compounds in animal products. Dairy especially is highly estrogenic. And it's just leading to kids growing up way too fast and they're not developing at the normal rate. And whenever you speed up anything too fast in the body, you also age quicker. So that does explain why we're seeing a lot of the things, because dairy and processed foods and all these foods, they've never been more convenient and cheap. So yeah, it's the modern diet and lifestyle, but that's something else I've realised. And I've also realised, talking to a lot of people on the podcast and doing my own research into famous doctors, plant-based doctors, vegan doctors, just general doctors and scientific studies, that a lot of diseases are reversible, which is so empowering. Like, a lot of people hear that and they're like, nah, that's not true. That's really empowering. That's great. It means you don't necessarily, this isn't medical advice, but you don't necessarily need the medication. You can be your own doctor and your own pharmacist. So it's empowering. Dr. Greger, he's done great work. There's so many vegan doctors who are doing great work. It's amazing. All these things are being researched. If even mainstream science is showing that a plant-based diet can be beneficial for reducing a lot of like arterial diseases, high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, diabetes, all these things can be reversed naturally with a plant-based diet, a low-fat plant-based diet, even better. So it's really empowering, which is something I learned. I've been brought up in a positive way where we don't dwell on things, we don't talk about our ailments, which is great. But I never realised to the extent that a nutrition can play. And even with the C word, the C word that gets banned on here when I talk about that disease, that can even be reversed naturally with diet and lifestyle. That links into something else. It's not just diet. I did realise this. Yes, diet has had profound impacts on my life, but also you have to tackle the other aspects of health, like mindset, the positive influences, whether it's friends, family, the media you consume, whether it's the kind of thoughts that go on in your head. It's all so important for health. It's like a holistic picture. It's like a wheel. Let's say you're 8 out of 10 in diet, great. But how are you mentally? What are your emotions like on a day-to-day basis? Are you stressed? Because if you're chronically stressed, then that can undermine everything. So there's been periods in my life where I've hyperfixated on diet a little bit too much, just because it's been so profound in my life. But when you restore the balance and you juggle all the aspects of health, it's really freeing, it's really empowering. And yeah, a lot of diseases, I'm reading the book Letting Go by David Hawkins at the minute. It's really profound. He had like dozens of ailments, and simply by letting go of negative emotions and sort of addressing the root cause of issues, he was able to reverse a lot of his ailments and, you know, live a decent life until 85 and help thousands of others do the same. So the emotional aspect cannot be neglected. Yes, diet is really profound, but we must tackle our emotions, our outlook, our connectedness. Do we believe in a higher power? Do we believe in having a purpose? Are we taking on empowering beliefs in that life? Are we choosing to believe that, yes, our actions have consequences and we can improve our life? Or do we believe that, you know, life just happens to us? You're dealt a hand of cards and you just get on with life. You have a destiny and you just, you're just destined for a shit life if you've had a shit upbringing. That's disempowering. We don't have to believe that. So that's something else I realised, and I've just been gradually making improvements in my own life. And it's been really profound. And then the final thing I've sort of realised is to sort of drop the dogma. Not that I've ever been super dogmatic, but I've had periods where I was like, you know, super fixated on concepts. And I've realised that supplementation is a widely debated topic, but supplementation is definitely something very nuanced and individualised. So I can't make, you know, broad sweeping statements on here. At the same time, I have realised that B12 is probably worth supplementing on any diet, but specifically a vegan diet. Definitely for 99% of people, it's if you're not supplementing it through your lifestyle, you're probably not going to be getting enough, because we don't play in the dirt anymore. We don't have little trace amounts in our water because we over sanitize and clean it. We don't have it in our soils and produce because we overwash our produce. And yeah, we just over farm our fields. We don't rotate crops. We don't regenerate our soil as well at the moment. But I have faith in humanity through education, through everyone talking about these things. Hopefully we can restore balance to our earth. It's still beautiful, don't get me wrong, like it's still amazing. Like, look at that. You can't get much better than that. But that is something I've realised. Our modern world is the reason why certain diets aren't optimal anymore, because regardless of your diet, some form of supplementation may be necessary if you are lacking certain things. So vitamin B12 is something I realised that, yes, especially on a vegan diet, it's worth supplementing sublingually. I just take it like every day or every other day, and it's just precautionary. There's no real downsides. If you get a nice clean one, like a methylcobalamin, like a sublingual one that goes on your tongue, there's basically no downside to it. So I realised, like, not to be dogmatic with these things. So I'm getting ants crawling all over me from this tree. Not to be dogmatic with these things, and just to care about results more than dogma and all that side of things. So I think that's super important. If you want actual results in your life, there's no need to conform to any ideology or any belief system. You don't have to be a part of a certain group. Yes, I use the title vegan. Yes, I say I've been vegan 6 years. At the same time, holding on to strong identities, it can put us in a box. And yeah, ultimately your health and your performance is what matters most, so that you can be kind and caring and compassionate to others. So yeah, dogma, it's not useful. Just be fluid, be flexible, be open-minded. You know, I might change my approach years down the line. In my heart of hearts, I can say that I'm not going to harm animals. I'm not going to eat them. Even if I knew eating meat by some miracle was like this miraculous thing that would make me, you know, healthier than ever. For me, it doesn't sit well with me. If I don't need to do it, I'm not going to kill another living thing. So that's kind of my outlook now, but I wouldn't have said that at the start. So yeah, results over dogma every single day of the week. You know, that's all we got, quality of life. So yeah, it's important we all have a great quality of life so we can be there for our friends and family and loved ones and whoever we want to serve in this world. So yeah, that's why I help people one-to-one. If you want to book a call, top link in the description. We can work on anything health related, anything you're struggling with. Weight loss is super easy on a vegan diet when done right, with the right plan, right diet and nutrition plan. But more importantly, mindset. That's what I work with people on, because you can know exactly what to do. We all know what to do intuitively. But if you don't have that accountability, if you don't have that support network, if you don't have the right mindset and someone objective to sit down with you and say, you know what, can I offer like a friendly perspective? Like, I think what you said was brilliant, but I just noticed a little limiting belief there. Like, is it expensive to do a vegan diet? No, actually. Just someone to check us all. I need that sometimes. Bullshit detector. My dad's quite good at it. He just calls it out as it is. So yeah, if you're looking for that coach, top link in description. Be more than happy to have a free chat with you, see if we're a good fit. Then we can set up a custom plan if it makes sense. But yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope this has been informative. Honestly, if you're thinking about going vegan, just do it. It'll be one of the best decisions of your life. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and love.